Everyone. All right. Well, the last day I traded options was Friday, and it was the worst day win rate wise of the year. Today was one of the better days of the year. Bounced back, didn't change how I trade, didn't do anything different. Just the market decided not to hornswoggle me today. So I'm gonna go over what we did this morning as far as options, and yeah, it was a very, very good day. All right, starting with pre-market analysis. If I go hop to the 15-minute chart, very bullish. Reasons being, you can see we can have a kind of a janky cup and handle pattern on the 15-minute time frame. More importantly, though, we have these pivots here and here. Now we are also in heavy supply, but it's been mostly tested, and we have two pivots, one barely missing the other. Look how close we are to these pivots. We've invalidated a majority of the move, and as you guys know, the theory of liquidity is price action has a tendency of chasing liquidity. So for me, when price action has invalidated a majority of a move, then it tends to chase the nearest point of liquidity. For me, this would be these pivots right here, the top of the supply. So I'm actually betting on the supply break. Now, I'm not thinking I'm actually going to be able to make any money on this setup this morning, just because it's simply just too close, right? But, you know, if we can fall a little bit before market open, or just kind of get a green candle just invalidating roughly half of this pullback, that's enough to trigger me in. That's pretty much the same thing that triggered me into my first trade on Friday, which I ended up losing 5 times in a row, right? Same exact kinds of trades, just liquidity analysis. And here's the market open. Never mind. This candle is going to be the market open here. Now, this was a beautiful candle. Started off red on ES, but NQ stronger than ES. And right as this candle ended, because this candle had a large selling wick during a majority of this candle. Right as this candle ended, finger on the trigger to enter QQQ calls. And I told you guys in advance, whenever I tell you guys in advance, if this happens, I will do this. That means because I expect it to happen pretty quick. You know, it's kind of I don't have a lot of room before my PT. Okay. So I told you guys that in advance. But majority of this drop invalidates. I will be in. Or pretty much there. I mean, if I use fibs, you'll be able to see that more than 50% of it is indeed invalidated. There you go. However, the selling wick still bugged me. So right as this candle closed, if the next candle opened green within this selling wick, I enter. And that's exactly what happened in the very first second of this candle open. I did fill. First PT is here. And then I will be going for the ES price target. Well, it happened. It happened just like I thought it would. It happened very fast. Everyone in live voice was more than likely able to catch this trade. And then you guys that follow my alert channel only and don't trade live with me, you guys should have been able to catch it as well, because I told you guys what I was going to do in advance as part of the during this candle. Well, this ran up pretty hard. I didn't really sell much until this candle here. This is where I started trimming heavy, because ES also got to the PT. This was a huge win. Very nice win. I don't remember exactly what the percent gains was at this moment. Let me check. Oh, by the way, I typed 204% gains in my channel. It wasn't. It was 179% gains. The contracts got to 2.04. So that's my bad. I just fixed that. I believe it was at roughly 112% here. Yeah, roughly 112%. Went a little longer. It's freaking vertical. Keep in mind the context. Friday dropped a lot. No, Thursday dropped a lot. Sorry. So I don't have any resistance anywhere near. I'm not really counting the supply because there's not really anything behind the supply. This is when supply will start being heavy. I have such a minor pivot here, but it's not important. So I really don't have any resistance. So I'm just kind of letting this go, taking profits on the way. And at this point, it's a pretty small runner position left because I am up huge. But I believe it was at this point that I hit 179% gains. which was beautiful. So 179% is what it hit. I obviously got a little higher than that, but reasonably, if you sold on this candle, you could have got 179% gains. First trade out of the gate, same kind of trade as Friday, and it felt really good to make that comeback. Now, ES is a hell of a lot weaker than NQ. ES has some nice pivots below. If ES continues being weak and invalidates a majority of this bounce, I will be triggered in by the same kind of analysis that triggered me in the first one. And that's what ended up happening. So right at the end of this candle, I triggered into SPX puts looking for new low of day. It might have been halfway through. It was somewhere either at the beginning or I don't remember exactly where it was in the candle, but it was somewhere in the middle of this candle. I don't remember. Now I did fill at half size, and I'll average up or down accordingly. The reason why I wanted to save room is because I don't know if NQ is going to want to go for a higher high. This is a potential head and shoulders that could cause a bounce. Very spiky head and shoulders. And we did end up bouncing. I did average down on this candle here. Well, technically right on the next one. Wait, never mind. I think it was this candle I averaged down. Because this candle did flip to a selling wick and then invalidated that selling wick. So I averaged down on this candle. I entered initially at 2.5 the SPX 0 days, and I averaged down at 2.2. I know I typed 2.15, but you guys got to keep in mind, when I'm ready to enter a trade, I already have the price of what it will roughly be typed out. And the second I enter it, I hit enter, and then I click enter with my mouse and hit enter on my keyboard. So it sends out with maybe less than a second delay, maybe a quarter of a second delay in between when I actually when I send in my order and send the thing. So I actually filled at 2.2. My average was 2.35. It did work out. And here it started getting a little hairy. So I took very big trims here. Very big trims on this trade. It was full size in this trade. Very big trims all the way down to half size here when NQ made a lower low. Now you can see NQ starting to put in a bull flag. I'm personally leaning pretty bullish on NQ, and the reason why is because it's so much stronger than ES, and we're starting to chop downwards. So I start trimming early before even my PT. Well, we end up popping up on this candle, and this just looks so good on the NASDAQ. Okay, so good on the NASDAQ, and it was pretty hard to resist. So what I ended up doing on this candle is a little bit about halfway up the candle. I also filled the QQQ position. Now this QQQ position was light. Typically when I say light, it's a third of my normal size. I filled this trade a third of my normal size because it was light. I still had a little bit of SPX left, right? I think I had less than half left. I don't remember exactly how much I trimmed, but a bit less than half left. And if I stop out of SPX, I'll probably finish around break even on the trade. Everyone was able to trim SPX for plus 36% gains. So, and at that point, I kind of moved my stop loss up, like to here. So if ES stopped me out, and we shot back up to here, I'd likely average up on NQ for the bull flag break because it's so strong. So that's kind of my plan. I just can't resist it. It looks so good. But I left a little bit in there just in case it was a fake out. And what do you know? It was a fake out. It was a beautiful fake out, and I exited my SPX puts here and averaged down on my QQQ puts, bringing these up to almost full size. I don't think it actually got to full size, but it's pretty close. Pretty much brought it back up to full size on this average down, except now I had a really tight stop loss, okay? My stop loss was like right here, and it was pretty hard, right? And I was out my SPX. SPX did 78% gains. I averaged probably about 50-ish, 50-something percent on it because of the first trim. But now I'm in. And my stop loss has to be close because now it's actually invalidating a majority of the run. So now my bias is starting to flip bearish to at least test demand. So what I'm giving here is the potential for the 61.8 fib to cause a 61.8 reversal. And if you guys don't know the 61.8 rule, it's pretty much that if price action holds and retains a 61.8, if it tests and holds a 61.8 retracement, watch for it to go 61.8% back the other direction, which is typically right around up here. So that's kind of my last chance. So if this buying wick invalidates, I'm out. And I told you guys that in my channel. I'm like, I think I'm gonna stop out of this trade. I didn't expect ES to thump that hard, but there was also a chance because the reason I averaged out on this candle was the volume spike. Volume spike is one of the first potential indications of a reversal. And luckily, this candle actually also closed with a buying wick as well. So if this buying wick invalidated, I was out. Very close to selling this trade at a loss. Not a huge one, I think like 20% or something. And it didn't. Still preparing to sell for a loss. There's an inverse head and shoulders on NQ, and it never happened. It never happened. And it was beautiful. So this was my third win of the morning. And I sold my runner on this candle here. But pretty much my P2 was NQ new high of day and then ES new high of day. And you could see ES perfectly swept high of day. So I sold my runner right here when ES gave an indication of a bearish liquidity sweep. That trade got 88% gains, right? Those calls hit 98 cents and my average down was at 43 cents. So the average down did well over 100% gains. And that was my third and final trade of the day. Then I moved on to futures, ended up being red by one trade a day. Could have maybe been green, but one of the trades was so debatable I couldn't decide on whether or not to enter because I didn't know if it fit my trade parameters because as you guys know, my futures trading is much more mechanical. I don't really think I'm going to review my futures trading because it was a super, super, super boring session with one singular trade. But as far as the options morning, that's why I did what I did. It ended up being a beautiful morning and just an incredible comeback from Friday, right? Friday was a very rough day for options. And today was a very awesome day for options. So, like I always say, for every lucky day with a half decent strategy, there is at least one lucky day on the horizon, but everyone only experiences getting unlucky, and no one ever experiences getting lucky like I do because you're too busy not accepting your results and blowing your accounts when you're unlucky. If you can manage not to do that, there'll be very lucky days on the horizon. And over the large series of events, you'll have a very positively sloping equity curve in your portfolios. But all right, does anyone have any questions regarding today's analysis? And keep in mind, guys, there is Black Friday sale for the server, the indicator, the community, all that stuff. I was going to do a masterclass, but I'm like, man, I'm just busy and I don't really want to do one yet. I'll think about doing one next weekend. Not this weekend, next weekend. But take advantage of the Black Friday sale. I don't do sales anymore. I literally don't. Our stuff is way undervalued as it is. You guys know I don't advertise. I don't market. I only work with traders who have dedicated their lives to this industry and will continue to dedicate their lives regardless of the outcome. It's the people who are committed that I work with, not the teenagers trying to buy their first Huracan. But did you announce yesterday that you're not going to make a sale? Oh no, I did the opposite, Rick. I said I am going to make a sale. No, I did. Yeah, I did the opposite. If you're talking about our staff meeting, yeah, I said yes, we are going to do it. But I usually don't. Back in the day, there used to be sales for every single holiday. I don't do that anymore. I don't care. I got way too much on my plate, and we keep having kick-ass mornings like this. None of our community is going to go anywhere because everyone keeps getting rich. But anyways, I'll post this on YouTube. I'll let you guys know when it's posted. And all you premium people, I'm going to keep you updated with my strategy because I'm going to be doing a decent amount of back testing today. I'm just going to be doing a lot of work today. And I'll keep you guys updated on everything I end up doing. But we have a strategy review in 3 hours and some change, I believe. And then we have a study session tonight to prepare our psych for tomorrow. So I will see you guys during those. If I don't, have a blessed rest of your day. And we'll be back at it bright and early tomorrow morning for hopefully, knock on wood, another bright good morning as today was. Such an awesome way to start off this really short week. And hopefully tomorrow is just as good. Right? I'll see you guys later.